that's kind of where it comes from. And let's talk a little bit about where this regression line and how it's going to be written, because it is going to be a little bit different than you've seen it before. So to actually make a regression line, or least squares regression line, you need to put it in the equation of a line formula. You don't use, for stats, y equals mx plus b, if it were only that easy. For AP statistics, you have to take it to the next level, and you're going to be using y hat equals a plus bx. It's really basically the same thing as y equals mx plus b, except it's your y-intercept written first and your slope times your x written second. Now just keep in mind that this is why it gets a little confusing, because both of these have a b in the formula, and the y equals mx plus b, the b equals the y-intercept. Here, the b equals the slope. So, of course, we got to throw something in there to make you a little on edge. But all this means is this, and remember, the y hat is your predicted value. And the equation is basically the equation of all the predicted values. That's why we're using that y hat over here. Now for stats, to calculate the slope, we use b. And from when you went through and did that activity on the Inspire, and you got the two variable statistics, and the Inspire spits out all this information. It gives you the R that I was talking about. It gives you the mean, the X bar. It gives you all these different numbers. Where you put them in is right here. The slope is R times the standard deviation of the y divided by the standard deviation of the x. And we want to make sure that, and how we want to state this is, because sometimes you're going to have to use like a sentence to explain it. You have to be very careful how you explain slope on an AP exam. You don't get credit for what you would normally think of when you respond. You have to state something like B is the predicted change in y when x increases by 1 unit. Basically the change in y over the change in x, but kind of putting it in another level. I believe you have to say this word increases, so that kind of leaves us with the y-intercept. Kind of have to do the y-intercept second because it's dependent on the slope. The y-intercept formula is the mean of the y's minus the b you just found times the mean of the x's. And again, this is all information that kind of spits out at you when you type in two variable statistics in a calculator. You'll get the y bar, you'll get the x bar, and you can calculate the b beforehand by hand. As far as the y-intercept may not actually make sense. Remember when I was saying that if you have a graph, and it was between, I think on the last page, it was between 30 and 60, okay? So between 30 and 60 is where we were talking about making predictions about the data. But when you do y-intercept, that's actually going all the way down to 0 for the x. And that might not really make sense. Just like it might not make sense to go all the way up to, what was I talking about? Trying to go up to 90. You want to stay within the range. And although you might have to give the y-intercept, it might not make sense in context when you're doing it.